Hey everyone, I'm Alex.
And I'm Kirsten.
Tonight we're talking about time travel.
We are talking about time travel. So you ready to hear the most compelling story that time travel actually exists?
Is this a true story?
Yes. So when you think about time travel, what do you think about?
Back to the Future.
I
DeLoreans.
I think about DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
1.21 gigawatts.
You said gigawatts.
I think that's what he said. Let's just see real quick. We looked it up. I was right. It's 1.21 gigawatts to go back to the future.
Are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think about DC's Legends of Tomorrow. You know, people purposely traveling the time, but also trying to blend in so nobody notices that they don't belong there. What if you were just living your normal life, going about your day to day, but then all of a sudden, it's almost 50 years in the future?
Like just, I walk outside and the future's here?
Yeah. But that would be fairly scary, I feel like.
Yeah, it'd freak anyone out or think it's a dream or something.
Exactly. Okay. So we're going to 2006, and a man was found wandering around Kiev, Ukraine. The man appears to be confused and scared, and he's dressed in older style clothing, and he seems to be in serious distress. So worried citizens call the authorities, and the police come out to find the man. So while the police are talking to him, they ask him for some kind of identification so they can find out where he belongs. The man hands the officers an identification card from his home country with his name and other information on it. The officers are extremely confused looking at his identification card. The card says the man is from the Soviet Union, which no longer exists, and it hasn't for decades. So this man's name is Sergei Ponmarko, and when the police ask Sergei, what's the date? He replies with April 23rd of 1958, but they're in 2006.
So their first thought is, you're delusional or having a psychotic break.
Exactly. And so the police take Sergei to the hospital because they think he's having a mental health crisis. Right. Because obviously it's 2006 and not 1958. So when Sergei is seen by the psychiatric doctor, they ask him all these questions, why he thinks it's 1958 and why he thinks he's from the Soviet Union. And there's so many questions because obviously the Soviet Union doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
But according to Sergei, he says that he was out for a walk with his girlfriend, and then all of a sudden he saw a really big beam of light, and he ended up here. Mm-hmm. So, no one's believing him, but he says, if you don't believe me, why don't you check the film in my camera?
Well, I was about to say, look in the exact date
that
he says it was when he was in 1958. I would think, let's look at, if we can find an archive, a newspaper, a police report, something. I would think my girlfriend would report me missing or report what happened.
Yeah.
Except if he just disappeared to her, if she's walking and suddenly poof, he's gone. I don't know, she might not. But see if you can find a record of a man that disappeared on that exact date that he says it was.
Potentially, yes. But you also have to realize at that time he lived in the Soviet Union.
Right.
Soviet Union records mostly got destroyed when Soviet Union fell. He asked them, if you don't believe me, check the film on my camera. This camera was in perfect condition. I mean, pristine condition. And
it was old.
Yeah, it's from the 50s. Mm-hmm. So, and obviously they didn't have anywhere local that could develop the film because, CVS and Walgreens weren't developing film from the 50s now in 2006, So
they have to have a, what's it called?
A dark room.
A dark room, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, they ended up getting a specialist to come out and develop the film for them. And then when the specialist looked at the camera, he was amazed at the condition and kept asking, where did you get this? And then when the pictures are developed.
He's like, Sears.
Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah. But when the pictures are developed, they saw pictures of Sergei and his girlfriend out for a walk, standing next to each other, just like Sergei had said. And Sergei was wearing the exact same clothes that he was currently wearing. And there's even a picture you can see this beam of light that he was telling them about, no, this is what I saw, and then I ended up here. So the police are looking over the pictures and talking to the doctors about how could this happen? Is this real? They're just as confused at this point because you have evidence that you're not having a mental breakdown. You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyways, so they go back to talk to Sergei because they had left him in a patient room so they could go discuss him privately.
So other than the doctors say, other than believing what he's telling you, there's no evidence that something's actually wrong.
Yeah. Other than he's probably in a little bit of, he is in distress.
Obviously, yeah, you're stressed out. You're in the future.
Exactly.
Suddenly.
Yeah. But they walk back into Sergei's room and he's gone. Mm-hmm. He's just gone.
Wait, were they just right outside the door?
They said that it didn't say exactly how far away they were, but they were all like, he didn't walk out the door.
Right. Either way, it's a hospital. They've probably got cameras.
Yeah.
It's 2006.
Yeah. So, but the police they can't let this go. They're like, something is weird with this.
Yeah.
So the police tracked down his girlfriend that was in the pictures, and she's still alive.
She's 50 years older, 48 years older.
She's still alive. And she says that, yeah, she remembers that day that Sergei said like he had disappeared for a day or two.
Yeah.
And then he was back. And like they never really followed up more with that, with her.
See, that's something else. What if, all right, now this might mess with things. Of course, if you know and you know.
Yeah.
You could try and look yourself up. Be like, if you have public records now, find out where I live.
Yeah.
Go to my address and see if I'm there.
Yeah. I don't know. But
and then you answer the door and you're like, I've been expecting you.
Well, see, my thought was this. Mm-hmm. They don't go find Sergei in 2006. Mm-hmm. So my thought was he might have already passed away.
Yeah.
Or this is 1958. He could have passed away in the war.
Yeah, I wondered. I was going to ask you if like she was married to Sergei or whatever.
She's not married to Sergei, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So girlfriend at the time, they didn't last or something.
Yeah.
We don't know.
You know, like everybody was like, yeah, she doesn't want to talk. So.
Okay, yeah.
And then like she could just be sad, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Or who knows? It could have been something else that they found out later, and she doesn't want to talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's not their business, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But they were just like, yeah. She was like, yeah, I do vaguely remember that. Like, he says he disappeared for a day or two, and then he was back.
Hang on. They were together when he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And she vaguely remembers.
Yes. So my thing is, I think...
That's something I'd never forget.
Well, she says she remembers the big beam of light, too. Mm-hmm. But what I'm wondering is if for her, no time passed because he came back to the exact moment that he left.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, Sergei just, like, we're walking through the park.
Yeah.
And suddenly, like, whoa. Well, what's wrong? Oh, well, I've been gone for, like, 3 days.
Yeah,
2
exactly.
days, whatever.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, you've been here the whole time.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe she thinks he's crazy then, and that's why they didn't get married.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like, maybe she thinks, what's wrong with you? What?
Yeah.
You serious? You think you've been gone for 2 days? We were just walking down the sidewalk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the whole story. But that is the most convincing story out there that time travel exists. Because there's pictures still to prove it. They still have the pictures of Sergei and stuff.
What picture? The pictures he took?
Yeah, the pictures they developed and things, and like the police took pictures and like not of Sergei, but like
so they have these pictures that appear to be actually from 1958.
Yeah,
and then these people are probably still alive from 2006 that met him.
Yeah,
and they're saying, yeah, that's the same person in the pictures.
Yeah.
And then they had the beam of light.
Yeah.
And that was in some of the pictures?
Yeah, he said one of the pictures is you can see that big beam of light.
Huh.
My question is this, and this is like completely not mentioned anywhere else, okay? 1958, Soviet Union was still in a war, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was the Cold War. But during the Cold War, there was a lot of experimentation. This is also before the space race was completed.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is during the Cold War.
Yes.
Everyone's on edge the whole time, all these countries.
Exactly,
that are participating. And they're experimenting.
Yeah.
And experimenting with things like time travel and teleportation and things like that.
Yeah.
Or just artifacts that were found and not the purpose of them wasn't known.
Exactly.
Because, the Nazis were experimenting with a lot of things.
But yeah, no, they were experimenting with things. Like, it was a wild time. And like, what if somebody actually did invent time travel back then? Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a theory on time travel that I think is interesting. There's some scientist that was saying that even if you invented like a time machine right now, you could only go to today because you can't go before it was invented because you can't drive where there's no roads, was his explanation.
I get it. You're saying you can't go to yesterday when a time machine didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not a time machine anymore.
I know. Well, I don't know. Think about it, though. Because once you've invented it, time is no longer linear. And then at any point in the future, they can come back to now.
So, you know how Stargate works?
Yeah.
And it's like you have to have a gate on both sides.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, I could see that if this isn't like a machine that moves, the machine stays where it's at.
Yeah.
And you get in the machine in the future, you transport back to the time the machine exists still.
Yeah.
The first day it's made. I could see that.
Yeah.
But like the conventional
thought on a time machine is it goes with you.
Yeah, the time machine goes with you.
Yeah.
So this is saying it depends
on which time machine you built.
Well, we don't have the technology or the knowledge yet to know how it would work.
Yeah. Or do we?
Yeah, we don't know. And you don't know what would happen. For all we know, this future we live in has been affected by people traveling to the past.
Exactly.
I don't think that scientist is right.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's two ways.
Yeah.
If you could send someone backwards in time. I don't know if they'd be able to come back.
Yeah.
Or if the machine would go with them.
Yeah.
But I think if you gain the power to move through time, you can probably get the power to move through time either direction.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting theory that you can't go back to where there's no roads, basically.
That is a really interesting theory.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a truck? I mean, 4-wheel drive? Subaru? Have you seen the Outback commercials? To quote Doc Brown again, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Okay. So there you go. There's your time travel story. So do you think the guy's actually a time traveler?
I don't know. I think if all these testimonies are true, and he really did appear confused, okay, just because we don't know how to do it or don't know that it can be done, doesn't mean it's impossible. So yeah, I believe it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's entirely possible. Just because we don't know how it was done doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or can't happen.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your time travel story for today.
This was a really interesting story.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So if you guys like it, subscribe, leave us 5-star reviews.
And leave us a comment if you have a personal story or just a story you'd like us to talk about that you've heard of. Leave us a comment. Let us know what that story is. Whether it be something just interesting like this like this time travel story, or paranormal, murder, mystery, whatever you got, let us know. Hope you enjoyed the story. This is the part where Kirsten says bye.
Okay, bye.